Welcome to today's deep dive. You know how in most movies, a heist is just like pure, unadulterated chaos?
Oh, yeah. Alarms blaring, tires screeching everywhere.
Right. And there's always someone sweating profusely, guessing which colored wire to cut. Well, we're taking a completely different approach today by looking at Amanda Park's thriller, Night Rain, on Pendleton Pike.
Such a good one.
It really is. And the cover art alone sets this incredible tone. It shows a man and a woman standing in a torrential downpour outside a neon-lit Pendleton diner. They're holding a map and some keys, and despite this massive storm around them, they look entirely calm.
And that calmness is exactly what we're dissecting today. Because the core theme of this operation is how extreme obsessive preparation mathematically eliminates the need for luck.
Wow, mathematically.
Yeah, these characters, Ace and Maine, they aren't relying on speed or firepower at all. They're relying on the absolute certainty of variables.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if they're eliminating chance, they have to completely control time first, right? And the scale here is just staggering. They spent 6 months prepping for an operational window of a mere 3 minutes.
Right, because modern high security vaults, they operate on these strict automated schedules. At exactly 2:15 a.m., the building transfers to backup generators.
So the power drops.
Exactly. The primary security grid drops for precisely 180 seconds.
But to even reach that 3-minute window, I mean, they had to map out a security guard's exact schedule. They know that at 2:05 a.m., he steps away for exactly an 8-minute smoke break.
Not 7, not 9, 8 minutes.
Right, which gives Ace exactly 10 seconds to execute well, they call it a digital handshake at the side door. I hear that term thrown around a lot, but what is a digital handshake actually doing in those 10 seconds?
So think of a digital handshake as a highly secure conversation between two computers. Ace's device basically says, hello, I'm authorized, and the security system asks for cryptographic proof. So it takes those 10 seconds for the two systems to exchange and verify these complex encryption keys. And once confirmed, the door unlocks without triggering any alarms.
Okay, and once inside, they have this crazy 60-second operational sprint over deactivated pressure plates before the power grid cycles back on.
It's a very tight window.
Seriously, isn't relying on a 3-minute window like trying to thread a microscopic needle while riding a roller coaster? It sounds less like a robbery and more like a synchronized swimming routine.
That is a perfect way to describe it, but reaching the vault is really just a matter of timing. Reaching the vault, that requires turning the building's own automated logic against itself.
Right, because if Ace just sends a manual command to halt the vault's deadbolts, the system recognizes a breach, right? It senses a door is remaining open when it shouldn't be.
Precisely, which would trigger an immediate hard lock. The system physically seals everything and turns the facility into an impenetrable steel tomb.
Oh, wow. So it'd just be trapped.
Exactly. So instead of forcing it, she lets the system run its normal perimeter check. And she exploits this microscopic 2-second delay in the locking cycle to inject a spoofed authorization code.
Like a fake digital signal.
Yeah, it tricks the system into thinking a supervisor approved the entry.
Wait, I'm a little confused here. If this security system is entirely automated in digital, how does a 2-second delay even exist? I mean, machines don't need to pause to think.
Well, they don't think, but they do have physical limitations. The system has to physically engage these heavy mechanical locking bolts.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so that 2-second delay is the mechanical lag time required for the physical hardware to catch up with the digital command. She uses that mechanical vulnerability.
That is brilliant. So instead of fighting the bouncer at the club, she waits for the exact millisecond he checks his watch and just slips a VIP wristband on.
That is exactly how it works. Hijacking a system means targeting the verification process when it's mechanically vulnerable. But, once that vault is actually open, the biggest threat to the operation isn't the police. It's human nature.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. In standard heist stories, they bag every single dollar. But Ace and Maine actually leave millions behind. They strictly limit their duffel bags to 40 pounds each.
Yeah, to maintain what they call escape velocity. Because any extra weight turns profit into a physical liability when you're running on a strict timetable like that.
And then they also deliberately bypass the lower shelves of the vault, right? Because they know those specific shelves house hidden tracker traps inside the cash bands.
Exactly.
So in this scenario, greed isn't the motivation at all. Greed is literally a security trap.
And that discipline extends right through their getaway, too. When they exit into the storm, a police cruiser pulls up to the alley.
But they don't even panic. They just rely on a flooded drainage ditch at the corner to block the cruiser. I mean, how did they know a puddle would stop a cop?
Well, it wasn't just a puddle. They spent months exhaustively mapping the local topography and the city's aging infrastructure. Yeah, they knew that specific intersection had a clogged storm drain, and that the torrential rain would create a zone of standing water deep enough that an officer wouldn't risk bottoming out their vehicle just to chase two shadowy figures in the dark.
That is wild. So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Because this deep dive isn't just about a fictional heist.
No, not at all.
It's a masterclass in how meticulous preparation, studying the systems, the mechanical lags, and the variables around you, completely removes the need to improvise in your own life.
It reveals that what we often just dismiss as lucky breaks are usually the result of invisible, obsessive groundwork done long before the event actually takes place.
Which brings us right back to that opening image, standing calmly in a downpour, entirely unbothered by the storm. We've talked about how this level of preparation eliminates bad luck.
It really does.
But leaves you with a final thought to ponder. If you mapped out every single variable in your biggest personal goal, could you completely erase the concept of bad luck from your life? Or at what point does trying to map out and control every single variable stop being preparation and start becoming a prison of your own making?